All right, so today in class we talked about special angles that were made with parallel lines and transversals. So in this figure here we have two parallel lines, A and B, and then T here is called a transversal. So a transversal is just a line that intersects two or more parallel lines. Okay, so what we focused on are these special angle pairs. Okay, so the first type of angle pair are called corresponding angles. Okay, corresponding angles mean they're in the same position relative to the parallel lines and the transversals. Okay, so for instance, 1 and 5 are both on top of a parallel line and to the left of a transversal. Those correspond. Okay, 2 and 6 are both on top of a parallel line and to the right of a transversal. They correspond. 4 and 8 are both below a parallel line and to the right of a transversal. Those correspond. And then finally, 3 and 7 correspond. And corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, so those are called corresponding. I'm going to erase this so that we can talk about those again. But now we're going to talk about them in terms of alternate interior angles. So alternate interior means inside the parallel lines. So in between here, the parallel lines. Alternate refers to the fact that they're on alternate sides of the transversal, so on opposite sides. So for instance, 4 and 5 are called alternate interior angles. Okay, so 4 and 5, that's one set of alternate interior angles. 3 and 6 is another set. Okay, so alternate interior angles, those are also congruent. Our next set are alternate exterior angles. So alternate, again, on alternate sides of the transversal, exterior meaning outside of the parallel lines. So in this case, it's going to be angles 2 and 7 are alternate exteriors, and angles 1 and 8 are going to be alternate exteriors. Then the last one, and those are all congruent, those are congruent. So now the last one are called same side or consecutive interior angles. Okay, so same side consecutive interior angles. So we have interior, meaning inside the parallel lines, same side, meaning same side of the transversal. So we have 4 and 6, those two angles together are going to be supplementary. So they add up to be 180 degrees. We also have 3 and 5, they add up to be 180 degrees. Now down here you'll notice I have a typo. This should not be angle 1, it should be angle 3. So angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180, and angle 4 plus angle 6 equals 180. All right, so then I reviewed with them a little bit about just following those patterns through. So up in number 1 here, we know that this angle right here is 71 degrees. So let's think about all the angles that would be 71 and why that is. Okay, so the angles that would be 71 are the vertical angles. So those two are vertical angles. Now, I know this angle is going to be 71 as well because these two angles would be considered alternate interior. These two angles would be considered corresponding. Now I can do, this angle is 71 for lots of different reasons. So it's a vertical angle to this one. So those two are vertical. Or you can think about that these are corresponding, or these are alternate exteriors. Okay, so out of those 8 angle measurements, 4 of them are exactly the same. 4 of them are 71. Now thinking about, I have it written in already, but this is a linear pair. They have to add up to be 180 degrees. Now we can follow that exact same process to get all the other angles. So you can use all of your linear pairs to get the rest, but let's think about this. We know this is 109 because of vertical angles. I can use alternate interior angles here to get that that's 109, or I could have used corresponding. Then I can get this angle here to be 109 because of either vertical angles here, alternate exterior angles here, or corresponding angles here. Right? We can do the same thing on the next one down. So we have a starter angle of 42 degrees. That means my vertical angle, my alternate interior angle, and then my vertical angle again is 42 degrees. Now using our linear pair, I know we should have 180 degrees here. That makes this 138. My vertical angle is 138, alternate interiors, and vertical angles again. right, on the next one, the next two here, these are more typical problems. So we just have to really decide, are my angles going to be congruent or are they going to be supplementary? All right, so in number 3 here, the two angles that are labeled are alternate interior angles, and we know that they are congruent. So that means that 3x minus 3 is going to be equal to 2x plus 20. So now I can solve, I can subtract 2x from both sides and get an x, add 3 to both sides, I get 23. Number 4, these two angles that I have labeled don't actually have a relationship that we've identified, okay, but we can figure out how they're related. So I know, for instance, that these two angles here are alternate interior angles. So I can use that information to know that this angle here could also be called x minus 97. So now these two angles together make a linear pair, and I know that's supplementary. So x minus 97 plus x plus 15 should equal 180 degrees. So now I can combine my like terms. I have 2x minus 82 equals 180. If I add 82 to both sides, I get 262. Divide by 2, you get 131. All right, this is a couple other problems that we went over today in class. On number 3 here, we know this angle is y. If I think about my parallel lines and this transversal, I also know then that this angle is y. Okay, so those are alternate interior angles. Then I can look at these two together. I know that I have a linear pair. So that means that y plus 3y should equal 180 degrees. So 4y equals 180, therefore y equals 45. Okay, so we know this is a 45-degree angle. Now x, together, these two, they form a line, right? So that's 180 degrees total. We know y is 45, so 180 minus 45 is going to give me 135. So therefore x is 135. Okay, so the last one here, we have two sets of parallel sides and we're missing 4 angles. Okay, so what I really tried to point out today was we really looking at one set of parallel lines and one transversal. Okay, so if I look at that set of parallel lines and that transversal, the only angle I can find using those are, oops, hold on one second. This angle and this angle. Those are alternate interior angles. What I tell people to do is look for the z's. Okay, so look for a z with my parallel lines and my transversal. The angles that are tucked into the bend of the z's, so the angles of the z's, those are going to be congruent and they're alternate interior angles. So from that z there that I've highlighted, I can tell that y is 31 degrees. Okay, so let's look at, oh, why can't I erase? Oh, I can't erase. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I got that to erase. Okay, so now let's look at these two parallel lines and this transversal. Again, looking for my z. Okay, looking for the z. The angles I can determine here are going to be W and the 20. Okay, so we know that W has to be 20 degrees. All right, so let's look at another set of parallel lines. So let's look at this parallel line and this parallel line. This time let's use this transversal. So again, looking for my z and the angles that are tucked into the z, that would be these two. So x is going to be 87 degrees. All right, last one then. Let me get rid of this. We'll look at our parallel lines again. So here and here. This time we're going to go this way. So looking at my z, okay, we can see that V and 42 are alternate interior angles. So V has to be 42.